and welcome to another episode of the all new TTown 411 report. We're actually not new. We've been around now for a couple of years. So, welcome to the TTown 411 report. I'm your host, Darren McKinstry, along with my co host, Mr. Mike Wilson, with Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV. We want to thank each and every one of you all for chiming in. We're broadcasting live from right here at McKinstry Banquet Hall, located at 5480 Jug Factory Road in Tuscaloosa. It's a special place for special people for all special occasions. If you're planning something for the upcoming holidays, please give us a call at 205-826-7661. Mike, how can they chime in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV?
Sure thing, Daryl. Check us out on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Go to your iOS or your Google Play Store. Download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, in the search bar, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. That'll get you on with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Check us out on the video side. You can go to our Facebook, Sound Booth Radio 106.1, or my personal page, Michael K. Wilson. Or you can go to YouTube. Once you go to YouTube, type in the search bar Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on Sound Booth TV.
Well, we're getting ready for hopefully a very exciting night of information or conversation. I'm going to just put it that way, conversation. Tonight, we're hosting a program that we've never done before, Mike. This is going to be a women's conference. Conversation with women around the country, hopefully just chiming in, talking about what's going on with the African American women, how to solve problems in our communities and different things. So we got two great people that's going to be on the program with us. But we want you, if you're watching this program, we want you to be a part of this particular event. We want your input. We want to hear what you got to say. We want to hear what you as a woman would like to implement and execute about making our African American communities great again. So we just want to thank everyone for chiming in. We got some people going to be calling in real soon. Before we start that, Veronica has gave us the COVID update as of July the 27th. 46 inpatients within the DCA system are positive for COVID-19. 8 inpatients positive for COVID-19 being treated in the ICU. 5 or fewer inpatients positive for COVID-19 on ventilators. Of those hospitalized, 58.7 are fully vaccinated and 41.3 are unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated. So that's where we're at with the COVID update. We just want to thank everyone to chime in on the program with us each and every week here on Tuesday and Thursday. I want to say hello to Jennifer Harrod. Thank you for chiming in already. Patricia Williams, thank you. While y'all chiming in and sharing this, we're going to go ahead and say a quick prayer before we get started with our topic and show our commercials. So if you would just bow your heads right now for a brief moment. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for your grace and your mercy for giving us the opportunity to come on this airways and share conversation among people in our communities. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for giving us the strength, waking us up this morning and letting us see another day. Right now, Heavenly Father, we're asking that you continue to bless our families as we continue to walk this earth. We're asking that you go with the bereavement families right now. We're praying for all the essential workers, Heavenly Father, all the doctors and nurses, the receptionists, all the healthcare workers. We're asking that you continue to watch over them. We're praying for our police and firemen, all our school teachers, and our children. Heavenly Father, we ask that you continue to watch over our president and vice president, our governors, our mayors, our council and commissioners, and their families too, Heavenly Father. We're asking that you continue to go with them and let them know. Heavenly Father, we're saying a special prayer right now for the people that's in the nursing home. All the workers are there, and we're asking that you continue to watch over them. And Heavenly Father, we're praying right now in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Amen.
Man.
Just want to get that in right quick before we really actually get started. Let me go ahead and make a few announcements. Announcements. Okay, here we go. The Tuscaloosa Police Department will be having a memorial ride for Investigator Cousette. This is on a Sunday, August the 21st. It's going to be held from the Harley Davidson uh, Bike Club there on Buttermilk Road, and it's going to be a 52-mile ride from I-20 59 all the way to Highway 11. Riders are $25 and passengers are $10. Kickstands up at 11 a.m. Registration is at 10 a.m. So please, if you'd like to make a donation, and these proceeds are going toward the Fallen Officer Memorial at TPD headquarters. So if you would, or if you'd like to make a donation, you can get in touch with them and make a donation for that also. Don't forget about the upcoming event, Friday Night Live tomorrow, taking place July the 29th at the Belk Activity Center. Belk Activity Center, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for ages 6. Let me make sure I get that correct. For ages 6 to 17. Yes, 6 to 17. They're going to have free food, free games, PlayStation tournaments, DJ and dancing, face painting, nail painting, and more. That's going to take place tomorrow at the Belk Activity Center from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also, next Friday on August the 12th, it'll be in Hay Court. So we'll let you know what's going on there. And this is being done by Shelton State Community College, 92.9 WTUG, Para, and the Block 105. So we want to thank all of them that are making this happen. Q Chandler, Joseph Eatman, all of the people that's behind making this happen. We want to thank them for making the Friday Night Live for the youth available. Uh, Insurance, if you're looking for insurance, don't forget about my good friend Alicia Jackson. You can contact her at 205-886-1462. 205-886-1462. That's if you're looking for life insurance. Uh, Gospel Explosion 2022 celebration is now. Vendors are needed. People that want to be a part of the program, please contact 205-499-2468. 205-499-2468. That'll get you in contact with the Midas Touch LLC promoter. And it's going to take place on September the 25th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Bobby Miller Center. Bobby Miller Center here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Don't forget about September the 10th. Our very own Tina Sanders, No More Tears, present Leroy Hall, your favorite motivational speaker, street poet. That's going to take place at McKinstry Banquet Hall from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are already on sale, $30 for each one of them. Contact Tina Sanders. Tina Sanders at 716-816-8264. That'll get you in contact with Miss Tina Sanders to get tickets on that, and we will have her on the program real soon about the upcoming event that's taking place on that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. Mike, I'm trying to make sure I had Miss Gilmer chimed in. I got Veronica on one line. Okay. Okay, so we'll give her a few seconds before then, but we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
All right, sound good.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, L.J. Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother? I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Red Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Because it's true. They are elderly, them and their grandkids
We're
trying to
back. We're back. We want to thank all our sponsors tonight. We want to make sure everyone, please go by and let our sponsors know that you hear about us right here on the TTown 411 report and our community conversation. Mike, Veronica's chimed in. Has Miss Gilmer chimed in yet?
not as yet, Daryl. Before we get into everything, though, I do want to say thank everybody for tuning in last night to the team summit that we had
Mm-hmm.
with the mayor of Tuscaloosa. Also, Miss Tina Saunders was on the line with us. I'm very, very, very proud of the young people we had on the line with the mayor last night.
Mm-hmm.
We came up with problems as well as solutions, and right on the air, we decided that we were going to do a youth alliance. We're setting it up as we speak right now. So we're basically asking anybody who have any young people that might be interested in joining this youth alliance to get at us over here at Sound Booth Radio 106.1. Just Sound Booth Radio 1061 at gmail.com. You can send us your email information. Right now, we're looking to have our first meeting sometime the next week or two. Advisors are myself, Miss Tina Sanders, and Buck Dollar from BBE Entertainment. So, like we're really involved in this, and as of right now, we have everybody who was on the panel last night. They are involved in this, and we're trying to expand it. And we got a nod from the mayor saying that he will stand behind us as well as the city of Tuscaloosa with all of this. So we're hitting the ground running.
Great conversation with the mayor. Good questions, good comments by the young people. I think it was a great show. I didn't get to hear the last part. I think Tina might have came on right before I chimed out for a second, but it's all the questions before then I heard, and it was a good conversation. So, like you say, Mike, you might want to replay that again and let people hear that didn't get a chance to hear it on yesterday. I got
Yeah,
another.
we actually plan on rebroadcasting. I think it's going to be next Wednesday. We're going to try to do it again at the same time. Um, we actually kept the mayor on for about an hour, and I allowed the youth to speak first
Mm-hmm.
and often, because that's what it's about. It's Teen Summit. We had other folks who wanted to be involved. We had to deny them because it was all about what the teens and the youth were looking for, as the youth are the future of everything. So that's where we were standing at with the Teen Summit. We're planning on a bigger, more involved one with more teens at an actual location where people can actually come out and see.
Okay.
As long as it's with the city council and the mayor and hopefully other leaders in the community.
Great deal. Great deal. Good job, Mike. All the people that was involved in making sure that the mayor came on the program on yesterday. So we want to thank each and every one of you that made that happen. Tonight, I see Miss Gilmer says she's here. Phone line 205-310-6067. 205-310-6067. And we're going to get started. Veronica's already here. Veronica, we're talking. We on Tuesday we started talking about the I guess, the role and the importance of the woman in society. I guess you can put it. That's what it boils down to. Summing it up a lot. And I just decided that we would go ahead and have a woman to woman's talk, and let the women call in, and you handle we'll handle the switchboard, but you can handle the conversation. You and Miss Gilmer, y'all can take over and go from there and take questions or topics from people in the community. I see about 17, 18 people that chimed in, and we want to thank each of them for chiming in and get. I think it's time for the African American women, or the women period, locally, just step up and step out and take control of this community. What do you think, Veronica?
Veronica?
They should step.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think I was on mute. Okay, to a degree, I think you're right, but to a degree, I also think that that's been happening. Um, because like with most things, like we say when we were talking about the pastor Tuesday, who's mostly in? You said more. Usually, there are going to be more women in church.
Yes.
Usually, there are going to be more women, even at maybe soccer games, football games. And not to say that the men are just absentee because they are absentee, but sometimes they're just absentee. But then there are other times where they may be working. Some men work night shifts, some men work at plants. So there are many reasons I think sometimes that we have to account. We can't always just say, well, the dad is just absent, which, like I said, we know in many cases they are. But I think and mom's gonna make a way, even if they have to work, even if they work evening shift, they're gonna make sure that they're off on the days that they have games, that they have whatever. They're gonna make sure that they're there. And if they're not there, then auntie's gonna be there. Big sister, somebody's gonna be there, maybe even big brother. So I think women do play a major role. Now, our conversation on Tuesday kind of got into the thing about society is making women be men. And I just kind of listened because I listened because I knew where that stemmed from. So I listened and I was like, okay, preach. Because with Miss Gilmore and the way she put it out, I don't think it's that they're making you be men. I think there's a whole lot to that. And TD Jakes is the one that caught flack with that. But I wanted her to expound more on what she was thinking with it. When she did talk. Okay.
Ms. Gilmer's on the phone.
Okay. Hello.
Go ahead.
Hey. Okay. Hey, Miss Gilmore. I wanted her to expound more on it because she said almost verbatim what he said, and I knew that that's what he had said when she said it. And what she said was really appealing to the guys. So I really didn't say nothing that day because I was really taking. Y'all know how I am. I'll listen at the reactions and see what I'm getting. Okay, this is coming from a woman. But I don't actually think that they knew that TD Jakes had said it verbatim. And TD Jakes caught flack for that. Because as we say, who's mostly in the church? Mostly women. So he said that not too long ago, and he caught flack for that. And what I didn't get mad at him about it because I think I knew what he was trying to say. And I had watched other people, the Ricky Smiley show address what he said. And I knew that that's where she had got that from. So, and I just listened because I wanted to hear more about what she thought about it because I knew I had more to say about it. And there were, like I said, preach. That's why I said preach, because he had preached that. And it rubbed a lot of women the wrong way. Because what I think is society is not raising women to be men. Society is raising women to be successful and independent. Now, do you have the women that give the neck rolls, the attitude, the hand up, the I don't need you? Yes. And I think that's what he was maybe addressing. But to any young lady out there, I'm going to tell you, never let a man defeminize you. Never let a man think it's not okay for you to be able to go out to your car and check your transmission fluid, to check your oil. Because if you have a good father or a good man figure that's ever been in your life, he's going to tell you, what if I'm deployed? What if I'm out of town? You may not be able to be a mechanic, but you need to be able to see what this oil level is looking like. Does it need a pint? Does it need a hole? Does it need whatever? Half of the whole? You need to check this transmission fluid. You need to know when to start the car, when to check it. You need to know how to check your tire pressure. You need to know those things. And some women, especially when you meet a woman that's like in her late 20s and she has a child or two, she's put the bikes together. She might have had a neighbor that could do it, but then there was other times when she's did it. So women are just doing what they gotta do. It's not so much that they're learning to that they're teaching them to be men. They're learning to do what they have to do because they may have to do what they have to do. And if you're a woman in the corporate world, don't ever let a person tell you not to reach for success. Because then I would hope a successful marriage, it shouldn't matter if you're bringing home 3K a week and he's bringing home 15K a week, 1,500 for him, 3,000 for you. It shouldn't emasculate him because he's doing what he can do. That may be all his trade allows. That may be all his education allows. Her education and trade may allow her to be next to CEO of a company. So I think a lot of times we as black men and women have got to stop worrying about how we're making each other feel as far as how much money we make or what we're teaching to do. Because any good father is going to teach his daughter how to do things that a man will do if he's there, but what if he's not there? Just like a good mother's going to teach her son to wash his own clothes and cook. She's not emasculating him, and that's not defeminizing a woman. But at the end of the day, communication has to be key. And so no woman should feel guilty for whatever success she has. That's the goal for everybody, male and female, to be successful. Now, again, don't go home and the dog, like they say, a dog come up to his master, with male or woman, and licking you and loving on you, but then your spouse, be it the female or female, hey, oh, you at home? No, you don't do that. Make that man feel important. Make that woman feel important, and let the man lead, like she said. But at the same time, the woman is his partner. And I learned years ago, my granny and my mom taught me that whenever I know that something's not going to work right, I ain't got to tell him I told you so. I can make that thing look like what he thought was his idea, and I knew it wasn't. Don't have that much pride that I can't allow him to think it was his idea. I don't have that much pride that I don't have to say I told you so every time I told him so, and he did what he wanted to do. And I would expect the same for him to me. So I think it just boils down to respect as far as when it comes to the relationships. But when it comes to society, now that I take to a whole different level. Because I think society is emasculating our men. And sometimes maybe even defeminizing the women.
Okay. I feel you. I agree with mostly everything you said, except for the part that I don't really feel like it's society that's turning women into men. Mine was on a more personal level. I kind of said like I feel like my mom, kind of makes us feel like that women are above men in a certain way just because of my personal experiences. And a lot of it is her experiences, a way a female is raised, the things that she's been through, and it will make her very, very hard. It'll make her very hard. It'll make her very tough. And it'll make it hard for a man to love her because of the things that she's been through. Those are the things that I want to break. Those are the areas that I want to break because it's so personal to me. Being
Right, and that's why I just said preach, because when you look at people's perspective from their own experiences, all of this stuff changes. You can never just generalize everybody. So that's why I didn't elaborate on it that day, because I had to kind of figure out how I wanted to present this. Because what you were telling was your experience. So that's why I was like you said, you're right. Sometimes you could be so hardened that you don't want a man and a man won't want you because you don't open up to it. So that's why I had to kind of figure out how to say it.
And it's not so much that you don't want it. Speaking from personal, you don't know how to accept it, and you don't know what's real and what's fake because things that happen to you now that you're older and you know it wasn't right, and you say to yourself, let me give you a personal experience. Being molested by people that you know and people that you supposed to trust. Um, it makes a woman think love. It makes a woman feel like once you grow up, it kind of makes you feel like sex is the love language.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel like, oh, well, this how I know a man loves, especially if you didn't grow up with a father in the home, and then on top of that being molested by men. So it makes you like that. This okay? So this how I know if a man really like me, if he has sex with me.
True.
And that's so tough. That is so tough, and that is such a hard demon to get rid of.
That's why I was like, I had to figure out, because people's personal experiences are so different, and so you can't always address things by lumping it all as a generalization. So that's why, because I listened to you, and I was like, okay, you said your mom, you know your mom better than anybody. So that's why I was like, okay, what I heard that TDJ said that basically verbatim, and I really and truly don't think that he meant what a lot of people took from it. That's why I had to see how I was going to address you saying it and him, because he put it out there, and to be like, there's a middle way. It was kind of, when he said it, it was almost, people took it as a black and white, but it was honestly and truly a gray area. Because like you said, you got to put your personal experiences into it, and then if you don't even look at that person's personal experience, I had to kind of break down what he said, and I've seen quite a few shows kind of break down what he said, and that was one of the very few things when I seen where men and women could both come to the consensus, and because like I said, I saw it on Ricky, and so like the women were on there were saying, Eva, she said, I don't think he was wrong. Brad said, whoa, wait a minute. Looking at women who had to do everything and had to be, so you looking at a kind of general, a bigger picture. Some people get offended by it. But then if you kind of break it down a little bit, you could see what he was meaning. He probably just put it, you know how it's like, it's not what you, sometimes it's not what you say, but it's what you mean. So it means you could have said it in a better way. So I think that's why a lot of people couldn't grasp it. And so I was like, okay, that was her personal experience, because she was talking about her mom. So I think, like, as far as like when I say society does it, that's just like, look at Lil Nas X. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want my nephews, I don't want my sons, his music or whatever, I don't really listen to it. But when I see what he does, and we know, we can get into that Hollywood thing where we already know what that. I ain't gonna even say what goes on in Hollywood, because it's basically almost like cult like. But there are some things that I do feel like what we seeing on TV. It may not, people saying, well, that ain't normal. Well, like homosexuality, it's been around since the beginning of time. But still, when their personal beliefs, a lot of people don't want to see that. And a lot of people feel like Hollywood is perpetuating something that emasculates our men. And the reason I say Hollywood is because every time you see it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an African American male. You talk about the PrEP pill, HIV medicine, what STIs, they put in you might see about 4 African Americans, 1 Asian, 1 Caucasian. When it comes to subjects like that, I feel like they not only emasculate men, but defeminize women. So when I say Hollywood, I'm talking about social media, Hollywood. Like we were talking about P Valley. And everybody that I've seen on social media talking about them 2 men. It's almost like they're trying to make it like Tim and Steve is what's normal, and Tim and Lisa isn't. And for some people that is their normal. But just like we don't want to make them feel any type of way for their choices, don't make heterosexual feel like, dang, we almost wrong. Are we wrong for being heterosexual? So I feel like that way Hollywood, the media, is trying to be so accepting of everything, till they're almost excluding the people who they claim that, what I'm saying, they almost excluding the people that they want fairness from. So if you want fairness, that's fine, but don't exclude the people you want, fairness from. Because then you leaving them out, like you're saying we're leaving them out. My thing is, you do what you want to do, but I do feel like social media is trying to play more of a role, and that sometimes, when you get back to our conversation, makes it harder for not even just the women, but for males as well, for parents.
Right.
Once again, if you'd like to join the conversation, please call us at 205-310-6067, 826-7661. That'll get you in contact with us here on the program. That was just I guess summing it up from what we talked about on Tuesday. And what we want to do tonight is hear from other women in relations to a lot of things, a lot of different topics: politics, education, healthcare, mental health, uh, even our community. So if you'd like to join, please call the conversation 205-310-6067. That'll get you in contact with us here on the program tonight. Uh, we have Miss Veronica Taylor and Miss, is it Gilmer?
Yes, with
Okay,
Gilmer.
okay. And we have Miss Christelle Gilmer, which is on the program also with us. So join the conversation. Let's talk. Let's hear what women has to say to other women, and of course in a much respectful way. We're not. It's not a debate of who's right and who's wrong. I think it's just conversation that we all need to hear and have on the program. So please feel free to call 310-6067 or 826-7661 to get you in contact with us here. Um, when I
I
th-
see Miss Patricia.
uh-huh.
I see Miss Patricia in the chat. Trying looking at the women I see as far as another woman. I see Miss Patricia's in the chat in case she wanted to chime in and let us know what she thought.
Well,
Because I respect Miss Patricia. I talked to her, a few times.
we got a caller right now. Hold on. Go ahead, caller.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good
I,
evening.
I I really want to get in on this conversation. Veronica and you, Ms. Gilbert, both have excellent points. I listened to TD Jakes. Well, I listened to it today. I don't agree with what TD Jakes was saying. I think he totally went off wrong on the Bible when it came to the Adam and Eve, and he's talking about since Adam let Eve make the decision that he's less than a man. So his whole thing, and I kind of chimed in on that and kind of wrote, hey, you need to redo that sermon. But what I want to say, he totally need to redo that sermon. But right now, what I see with that, Kevin Samuels is dead now. He was the big guru on telling women what they need to do and how they need to treat the man and that sort of thing. But he's dead. I honestly, when I look through YouTube, all of those different places, there's an attack on black women. I'm really feeling that there's an attack on black women. It's like you got women said, you and Miss Gibbard said, listen, it's an individual thing. All black women are not loudmouth, cursing, fighting, doing all of that. They are painting black women with a broad brush. But they never talk about the women that they have. They can talk about the other women, but they can't talk about their mate. And their mate might be the sweetest, godly thing in the world, but they don't see other black women like sweet and godly. But the thing about it again, they are it's an attack. I just feel like it's an attack on black women. And another thing is black women has always been strong. There's not too many marriages or courtship that I'm thinking 90% or 95% or even higher is black men with black women. Not all of these relationships are what they're talking about, but when they start talking and trying to put us in that box, paint us with a broad brush, that's not right. Black women been strong women all the time. We are a different set of women, right, from any other women out there because we came up through slavery. We worked side by side with men. We always had a voice in this world, always had a voice. Wherever we go, not like white women who sit up in the house, not like Chinese women who do with Asian women that do their thing. Black women are strong, especially African American women. We just came up like that, talking. We had our right to talk. And then on top of that, our black men has been marginalized through wars. They put them on the front line of wars. When they came out, they dropped drugs in the community. They just tore the black family apart. And the thing about it, if they not on drugs, incarcerated, it's just all types of things that stand up the black family. And my question is, and what makes me mad is, do black women sit there and cry, or do we get and change our oil? I check my tires today. I check my oil. I don't care if I got on heels, lipstick, whatever.
Right, and that's what I was talking about, Ms. Minor. I think sometimes us as a race, both the black men get to want to talk about what black women doing and aren't doing, and we should have a discussion, not a beat down about it or talk about it. The black women get to doing the same thing towards the black men when society itself got their whole third story. So we have our roles because of the way life has been for black women and the same for black men. So I think it's more of a communication instead of just saying, oh, we black men is that this and up. Because that's what I was going to talk about as well. With if you take a black man, not any black man, not all black men, because a lot of times people in the chat start to think you're generalizing talking about all. But there's enough for me to say many. If it's a Caucasian woman that turns her neck or rolls her eyes, oh, she's something else. Okay. If it's a Hispanic woman that does it, oh, she hot and spicy. That's a Latina right there. That's that Latina heat. But as soon as a sister, the one that looks like him, the one that looks like his sister, that looks like his aunt, that looks like his mother, man, that woman got an attitude. See, they were wrong black women now. That right there, that happens, and they cannot say it doesn't because it does. But then when some black women get turned off by hearing that and being treated that way and go to a different race, then there's an issue. Even looked at funny by a black man who may be with a Caucasian woman. That's right. So I'm like, there's somebody in the chat says two different issues. We're talking about a lot of different issues. But it's like, I feel like if we as men and women respect each other more and communicated more, and why we to the point now where people were saying, why don't y'all stop saying B's in the song so much? B's and hoes, B's and, sorry, Facebook, B's and H's. Okay, now people have talked out till they were blue in the face and nobody was listening. So now they just left it alone. And it's still B's and H's, B's and H's, B's and H's. They get so desensitized to stuff. And then you try to tell people why it's not okay. It's just like the N word. You snip that to you give a dap to a Caucasian person, they talking about my whatever. But then on January the 6th, would you go up there and dap them as they say my N word? A lot of stuff we get to accept it too much. Like Darren has said, we as a society, as a community of people, are so open, so forgiving, but except for when it comes to ourselves and to each other.
And the thing, and you're absolutely right. I agree with everything you're saying, but the thing about it is that the black community in general always lean to the ugly side. You don't lean to that positive side of the African American woman or the African American man. We always have to show up with that crazy side. Like you said, the B's and the H's. There's a lot of B's and H's out there. We got to give it up. We got to share it too. There's a lot of them out there.
It is. But it's like they making it so normal to where they're almost making it like it's okay to just label women that in general, even though there may be a lot out there, it's not okay to have a young generation of people thinking that that's what they all are. That's what all women are. And it's to the point that that's what some young men and some young women think that that's what all women are. And there's some negative names for some men that they think that all men are that way, and they're wrong.
And also, as women, especially the younger generation, we have to stop calling each other that. And offended when a man call you that. You know what I'm saying? Well, y'all sitting up there calling each other, it's my B. It's my B.
Right, they calling each other that.
But as soon as a man says it to them, then, them fighting words.
But you know what? Those H's, and I'm going to have to say it, those H's are the most powerful women, black, white, Asian, that ever. I mean, they have always those type of women. You know what I'm saying? Prostitutes, Asians, whatever. They are powerful women. They can do anything in this world is fine with a man. It's fine with a man, and they glorify. Like Cardi B, she's one of the nastiest, vulgar women I ever seen in my life. And here you have Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke. He came out with all them nasty videos. He's one of the nastiest, filthiest guys I ever seen in my life that projected those things. But here it is, they're making money off of it. They're making money off of it, and that's all they see. But if you have a child and you're not training your child or your girl or your son in the way to go, you're gonna lose them to this crap. You're gonna lose them, and that's what they're gravitating to. Long time ago, when it was back in the day in the 50s or whatever, and I wasn't even born then, but they always when Elvis Presley started shaking, when the rock music came out, the white folks was hollering, "This devil music! It's devil music! It's devil music!" And here we are. We got to where they doing a little bit more shading. They showing everything, and here we are. It has brainwashed society. You have to watch what goes in your ear, in the gates, your ears, what you listen to, what you touch, what you taste, what you feel. You have to, else you'll be pulled toward that side. But back to black women, all of us is not like that. All of us. So I wish they would stop. But I think people need to choose their mate. You need to choose wisely. The man need to choose the woman he wants, and the woman need to choose he wants. We got a lot of folks out there, men doing anything with any woman, then mad because this is kind of woman, but he saw what kind of woman she was before he got with her. And now he's talking about it. Then here's the woman crying about the man, and man ain't no good. But you chose that type of man. You got to choose. You have to choose wisely in everything. And when it comes to relationships, that sort of thing. But I am straight up tired of black woman being attacked, a black woman being blamed for everything in the black community. It's the black woman. If a black man go out and shoot somebody, well, it's the black woman's fault. She should have gave him a little bit more love. I mean, why? If the black man don't go to school, well, I mean, everything is the black woman's fault, and that's what I got. Excuse me, from T.D. Jakes. I got it from Kevin Samuel, and the rest of these men who's sitting around about a woman should be this, that, and other. But you got to understand that every man ain't good and every woman is not good. So you got to be a do right man to get a do right woman. You got to be a do right woman to get a do right man. So come on, man, line of sight, put some bars on. I'm telling you, it's just it's just crazy, and I think everybody needs to relax and quit going to that dark side, because every time I was on TikTok, and two things came up. It's a white guy moved into Brooklyn temporarily, and he talked about he couldn't believe it because he was from a different area, Iowa or somewhere, and he was talking about he couldn't believe it's like that. It's about like when I go there, and I like to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of a city. And when I see the ugly, I'm like, how can they stay there? I mean, why don't they just get a one-way ticket out of there and move? That sort of thing. But here's the deal: I got dogged out by some black women because they like, you don't understand. You don't understand. That's how we live. That's how we live. But I'm like, do you take it? Everything is a choice. I got another thing. I mean, I got dogged. I got another thing. It's a black guy. I'm like, why do you stay there? I couldn't ever get that question answered. Why do you stay there? Why do you accept that kind of living? But when you get on TV, you hear you hear these ball players. First thing they say, I came, my mama, my daddy was on drugs, and I came up in the ghetto. All black people don't live like that, but they go to that area. They swipe us all with this broad blood brush. And that's what they're doing to African American women. I don't know if we get too powerful. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that was Miss Gilmore. Was Miss Gilmore saying something?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I hear something in the background. I think that's what Miss Minor was hearing. Something's in the background.
Mm-hmm. I think black women are just getting to their power. We're standing because if you're putting out incarcerating our men, putting them on drugs, not giving them a job, they're getting the beat down, and they're gravitating toward whatever it is that they're trying to do, and we're left alone. We got to stand. We can't let our family go down. We just can't. That's my feeling on it.
Yeah, I think we do. And I think sometimes when we do stand, and like I said, not even talking about that woman that's rolling their neck, rolling their eyes. We're talking about sometimes we're God fearing, law abiding citizens trying to do what you're supposed to do for your family. And sometimes people, be it black males or other members in the race of society, want to say that we're overbearing or overpowering. Well, we're trying to take care of our families, period, because we see what they have to go through, and then we see the battles within each other. There's so many battles within the race. You have to deal with that, and then we have to deal with the stresses of the battles out there that are coming at the race.
That's right. And that's the big battle to fight because black people have such, not all black people, but a lot of black people have such a hatred towards their brother or sister in color. Mm-hmm. Like, you can do good as long as you don't do better than me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know where that stemmed from. I don't know where it came from, but I know that it's growing more and more every day. The spirit of jealousy, the spirit of envy, it just rages the black community in the strongest way. And I just wish and I pray that there was something that could be said to change that course because some black people just cannot stand for you to be doing better than them. Or they may even think, not even know what you had to go through to get what you had. You know what I'm saying? You hating on my pain is what you hate on because it's the process that really brought me here. You can't. It's nothing that came to me overnight. You mad because this sister got her makeup thing is going on, it's doing numbers. But you gotta find something about her to hate on. You mad at this brother because he got his business going on. It's something about him that you have to find something to hate on him about. It's really an issue within the community. I can't blame it on whites. I can't blame it on Asian. I don't even want them to be a factor because one thing about them, they stick together. They're
gonna do that, and they're gonna right.
Black communities that open up businesses and get our money for our nails and our hair. The Arab, we got a store in every hood. They getting our money for our whatever we need. We go to the Arab store. We go to the Chinese people or Vietnamese people to get our nails. We go to the Chinese to get our hair. Where is our community? You know what I'm saying? Why we're not building that up is because we can't build a community up because we don't even know how to build each other up.
Right. And if you go to that black person that's doing the nails and she messes up one time, now of course if somebody messes up enough you to take them to court, that's a whole different. We ain't even going there. We're just talking to you right now. We are generally talking. Give her another chance, just like you gave McDonald's a chance when you saw a roach crawling through the drive-thru.
Exactly. He went right back.
But and then yeah, okay, I gotta address Mr. Stanley Gay in the comments because he's trying to stay, he wants to, this is a virtual women's conference platform, right? We're talking about the things we see in our society. He's focused on not blaming the music. Well, music is a part of the problem. It's one part of many problems. It is going to be addressed because it's a part of the problem. And it's not to be ugly about it. I mean, the music in the 20s and 30s was worse than some of the music, but it was underground music, and people were more of a family stuck together, and they kept their kids' ears away from that. Well, parents aren't keeping the kids' ears away from it right now, so it's got to be addressed. It's just like underground comedy. Some of the underground comedy from the 30s and 40s, even before Red Fox and them, was worse than Red Fox and them, was worse than Richard Pryor, was worse than Eddie Murphy, was worse than Cat Williams. But you still need to address it. You can't just tell people what to address and what not to address. That's one of the problems in our society. When stuff starts to touch a little bit home or something that's close to you, then you don't want that to be seen as a problem. And it's not so much as the music being a problem, but the exposure to the music. That's right. I didn't hear that. When I didn't hear it either. I didn't hear it. It was out there. I'm sure my mama knew it, but they were grown. Right, and if I heard it, it was in passing because somebody was bumping their car. So I wasn't able to catch every word. Like you can sit home now and hear every word because parents are at work and our parents were at work. But I didn't have access to that because our parents stayed in our rooms. They stayed on our beds. They stayed in our closets. And we still hear some stuff, but stuff like that was not going to be hidden for too long. Right. You know, I was in advertising and marketing very long time. If you put it out there enough, you're gonna brainwash people. If you go to a war, one thing they do, like for an example, the Iraq War, what they did was blast the music so loud. Music that, of course, a Muslim nation wouldn't even play in their area. But the thing about it, what we hear does does influence you, and that's what's wrong with the African American community today. We don't give a damn about what our kids listen to, what we see, and what the surrounding is, the environment. And I want to talk to some about something Ms. Gilbert just said. We cannot go around claiming things that every race does. These are human characteristics, behavior, all of this jealousy, envy, all of that. We don't have the market on that. The difference is black people talk about theirs out in the public. White people ain't gonna do that. Asian people don't do that. No other race of people talk openly about their own race like black people. And I have put it on all of these blogs when I'm blogging and that sort of thing. I ain't never heard another race or male down their female like black men do. You can go anywhere, anytime on any YouTube channel, wherever, and there's an attack on this black one. They ain't nothing, they ain't that, they ghetto, they whatever. I never heard that. And you know, it's kind of crazy for a race of people to dog its own race. But we don't have the monopoly on foolishness. Everybody do it. You can go to India, you got the same thing, the killing, the shooting, the stealing, the prostitution, the everything that every ghetto anywhere has. So we don't hold the monopoly. So don't think that the Bible tell you about envy and all of that. Don't think that we're the only one doing it. That's just human behavior. That's the characteristic of human. That's what they do. So just move on. Don't worry about those people and that sort of thing. Just keep it moving. Okay, so what do you, go ahead. I just feel like, and I'm gonna separate us, and I'm gonna put us in a bubble because I just feel like black women are such a strong being, and we are too strong, and we are too intelligent, and we are too everything to be envious of each other. I've seen Chinese and Vietnamese, I've seen Mexicans fight each other and brawl, but I also see them putting their money together. And I also see them, coming in a home and they'll pay the rent until they own the house, you know what I'm saying, and put their money together and bring their families together and they'll get a job and all of them are paid $20 a month on rent or whatever they paying
I really feel there is a systemic progression of hatred in the black women to each other that I just wish if you could just get one group, if I could just reach one group of females and and teach them or show them a better way other than hate, there is so much that could be done in the community. There's so much that could be changed in the community because the black woman is the strong one. The black woman is the foundation.
And I agree with both of y'all. And I think what Miss Meyer is saying is like, Miss Meyer, I think like I said, we're so open to tearing each other down publicly because I have strong white sister friends and they talk about each other. They do this and they do that. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna stick together in the open. And when the push comes to shove, you're gonna get shoved and they're gonna push each other together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about and Miss Gilbert, you're a young girl, sound like you're a young girl. Listen, you're human beings are human beings. Just because you see bunch of Hispanic living in a house together, grouped together, some of them saving their money, you can also look at other parts or other sides of a Hispanic family when it's totally opposite. You got the ones who will do and the ones who won't do. That's throughout all of the races. So we're not, like I said, we don't have the monopoly on being stupid, crazy, poet, fighting, killing, none of that. I don't care how many African Americans have killed whomever, we still cannot match the death that has been caused by another race. And I'm not going to call any name. We just can't match that. Nowhere near. So
it's because black people don't carry that type of hate. We're hated because of the color of our skin. We don't hate people because most black people don't hate another person because of the color of their skin. That's a different type of demon they got. And that's a different type of demon that they fight. I'm just saying what we do amongst each other can be changed because yes, Hispanics have drama. I've seen it. Yes, Chinese and Vietnamese have drama. I have seen it unfold in the nail shop and they get into it with each other. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, but they still like Miss Veronica said, when push come to shove, they gonna do the pushing, they gonna do the shoving, and everybody else gonna push back. We as a black community are not doing that at all. We are accepting whatever they tell us to do, and then we continue to hate each other.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I've been around a million black people at one time. It was the most beautiful thing I ever seen in my life. 1 million black people at one time. Hello. Oh, okay. Somebody. I thought somebody was talking.
Yeah.
So
okay. Let me ask y'all this since we're okay. So I'm gonna see if we can kind of like direct it back to us as a people for a little bit, and we're gonna try and take it to a mental health standpoint. How much of all the things that we see, all the problems that we see, whether it be social media, whether it be music, whether it be just generational problems, because some problems are just generational. Things just happen, like things such as colorism. It's been passed down. People are using that word colorism today more than ever. Colorism has always existed, and it started with the house Negro, the field Negro, and it probably even started before that because in other lands in India, they have varying degrees of brown. I'm sure there's some colorism going on there. But when it comes to things like colorism and stuff, we gotta look at the mental health as well. I feel like, and this can get a lot deeper. I'm not gonna take it that deep because I feel like hormones play a part on everything we do in life, everything that affects our bodies. But when it comes to mental health, a lot of this stuff, how much is it just our mentality, whether it be you 50 years old, you 15 years old, how much of it is about our mental state?
I feel a lot of it, a big percentage of it. Mm-hmm. A huge percent, probably 80 to 90, because a lot of it is a mental health and a lot of it is a generational thing. Mm-hmm. I would say a generational curse if I could go that far.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big part. Just like I'm in a group, and we were talking today about getting all of the organizations together. And I thought about an opening speaker, a psychiatrist, because everything, when you live where there's no peace. And like I told these people from Brooklyn or wherever we were, I said, y'all have PTSD. They didn't even know they had PTSD. But everybody who didn't live in Brooklyn and in that mess, and in those inner cities, we always say, dog, it's a horrible life. You live in a horrible life. They don't even know they're in a horrible life because they've been living it so long. It is a mental thing. It is a minute. Ain't no way in this world. It's like going to a war. There's no way you're gonna come out of something like that or go in the jungle and come out right. It's something going on with it. It's a big percentage of it is it's mental.
What do you think, Miss Veronica?
Honestly, I think from a practical standpoint and just from the things I've seen, living places like living, and just being north, south, east, and west, I think everything is mental. And like I said, I've always had one professor that taught me it didn't matter your race. So sometimes that's why I still try to bring it back to us because it seems like it does matter your race when you're addressing certain issues. So I always bring mental health back to us because one, there's always been a stigma within our own community to address mental health. And they just been like that kind of stuff. And then there's also the stigma from others in the community. They don't allow us they don't afford that us to, they have mental health issues. They say we don't know anything, we this, that, and the other. But when it's convenient, all kinds of labels are placed on us. If they want to send you to jail for committing the crime that Tommy did, then mental health ain't going to work for you. But if they see you doing certain other things, then you're crazy, you're this, you're that. And so that makes it, mental health is a stigma across the board. It doesn't matter race, creed, or color. But for us, I think we have a pride that's so it's just not hereditary. It's just epigenealogy. It's passed down from what you see, your natural environment. So for our natural environment has created certain ways that we have. So we have a pride because we're all hormonal based. Every male has hormones. Every female has hormones. Sometimes they get a little out of whack. But some they just get a little unbalanced. And when I say a little unbalanced and out of whack, people say, "What's the difference?" Well, to me, unbalanced is you tinker a little bit sometimes, but your foundation is generally okay. Out of whack, you all over the place. But I think that sometimes mental it plays a part, and some people's all over the place may be another person's unbalanced. One person's unbalanced is another person's all over the place. Some people can't take being fired from a job. Some people can take being fired from a job and say, like, hey, when one door closes, three more open. Some people are like that. So I think everything we do, as far as our community, us as a people, it does affect. A lot of it resorts to mental health. I think almost all of it.
I agree.
And I think we have to continue to break, because it's breaking. It's breaking. We have to continue to break the stereotype. We can't, sometimes mental health is used as a crutch, or not as a crutch, but as an excuse for certain things. Because when I say unbalanced, people don't like to take medicine. I'm not a big advocate of medicine, even though I'm in the healthcare field. But sometimes when it's determined and a person is unstable, but they're stable enough to know better for some things, like you can't get them to stay on their medicine. As long as they're on their medicine, you notice the difference. They're fine. If they get off their medicine, then they get a little unbalanced. Some get all over the place. So I think a lot of things, and everything doesn't require medicine. I'm not saying that. Sometimes it requires an ear. Sometimes it requires therapy. And sometimes it just requires a good sit down. If you can't afford therapy, because we talked about that before. Sometimes a lot of stuff, we look at a lot of things and we like, no, like Lisa, we talked one time, I'm not going to that therapist because she's too ingrained in this particular community. And when you have small communities like Tuscaloosa, you are afraid to tell people the things that you're going through. So if you don't have that friend that you or family member that you can trust, we hold in a lot. We hold in a lot.
But did you know that many therapists in Tuscaloosa Do not take Blue Cross Blue Shield, will not accept it because the payment is slow and different things like that. Then they don't hold classes on Saturdays. I mean, it's just crazy. Many people can use their insurance, but the therapist will not accept your insurance. And that's a crazy thing, but I got to say that many African Americans are using therapy. That they do need it. If you've been molested, you got scars. If you've been in the state home, you have scars. If you've been abused anyway, beaten, talked down, you have scars. And like you said, Veronica, you just need somebody to listen. You know, you can't get to a therapist because they're not gonna do anything. They're not gonna give you any advice. Not much anyway. But the only thing you do is listen to it. Sometimes it's just to cry. I need to cry out. I need to cry. And I tell anybody, just go cry. Just go cry. Just go cry. But you know, there's a lot of mental health going around in every race here in the African American community. And I always said, when we got a group of people living in these junkies, you can't help but have a problem. Ain't no way in the world you get no peace. You hearing everything, seeing everything. You got rap, you got roaches, you got everything. It's a crazy world. It is a crazy world. It is. It contributes. Mental health contributes to everything. And because I even said on it before, when you're younger, you're not really thinking about mental health. Like when we're raising our kids. So my kids are grown now. And I can honestly say that I went through nursing school. But and the thing about it is, when they do you through these schools, they're fast tracking you. You're not staying on the subject long enough to really understand the importance of it. You know that it exists, you see a few patients, and then you go on to the next subject. So a lot of times,
Somebody has their radio up too loud.
yeah, I hear. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, it's okay. I don't know.
Somebody's on their phone and they also have their computer on. Turn your computer volume down.
I'm trying to make sure I'm not near another device. I'm in the room. There's nothing. But you know, so sometimes it's like when we think back to the way we talk to our kids, you know, we would have been a lot better for our kids. And I think that goes with our parents. They would have been a lot better with us. They would have been open to discussing things with us. We wouldn't expect them to get this right like this, or to always. We had to like I had to learn to understand that. Okay, this is the way that I'm saying it to her. It's not always that they may not be listening or they not get it. How are you saying it? How are you saying it? So there's a lot of things we can look back on. When you learn better, you do better. And so people want to know why we talk about this, and others. Because as we talk, I'm not sitting back and tell you the things that we did that weren't right. And I showed up to be better. Okay, I'm here, but I'm not even talking. So I don't know what it is. How do they need? I'm off the speaker when I'm not around it. I don't know.
No, somebody has their device. Somebody has their computer up too loud.
I'm not me.
Because I took it off speaker.
And I just took mine off here and I still hear.
Okay,
I don't hear it now.
I hear.
I still hear. Yeah, Veronica, you don't talk. Do you hear it now? With me talking? Echo? No. Okay. Miss
So it's got to be me, but I'm not around anything, so I'm trying to figure out why. That's why I took it off speaker.
That's better, right? Whoever that is.
Okay, I don't hear it now.
Yeah, it's better now. Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
Let's
So what we talked about the mental health aspect, and honestly, the mental health can still be like a big part of any conversation. You know, we all know that we all got a little something. Like I said, we all walk that fine line.
Right.
Where, you know, everybody's IQ is not the same, but it doesn't mean you have a mental health problem. But when it comes to mental health, we all should strive to have good mental health. Will everybody have perfect mental health? I don't think so. Because even anger management is not is mental health entails so much. It's definitely multifaceted. So I think that mental health plays a part in the things that we're talking about. Um, Family, religion. A lot of people. What do y'all think about getting God back into the family? Who? Oh, I won't even say because some people feel like God is in their family. But when you say get God back into it, what do y'all take from that? Or what do you think people mean? We got to get back to God.
Well, I think, like you say, some people do have God in their life. When I did that Stop the Violence rally, when I called for people to circle the field, I ran into two little boys. And I said, hey, y'all ready to pray? Because we're going to pray these devils out. Prayer to me is very strong and very powerful. And it was, and I'm not saying we did, but I say God did it because we was having shootout every other day. It was a shooting, but not now. We pray that it stays down or not at all. But when I gathered everybody together, I went around. I was like, let's go, let's go. It's 12 o'clock. We're going to pray. Come on. So I saw two little boys. I said, yeah, y'all ready to pray? And one said, yeah. And the other one was, he said, I don't believe in God. I said, oh, come on, come on. He said, okay, okay. But then when I circled back around, he said, no, I'm not going to do that. He said, I got my own way of thinking. And he was about 8 years old. And everybody that I told that story to is saying, yeah, it's the parents, it's the parents. But the thing about it is, when people don't see their prayers manifesting into anything, they can lose hope in God. And that's where a lot of people, I believe, are falling, are falling by the wayside or turning their back on the church and on God because they are not seeing their prayers manifest in a time that they want. But I believe in God. And
Ms. Mine, I want to expound on that because what you said was everybody want to say parents. Parents do play a major role, but we have to be realistic. Parents are not with their children 24 hours a day. People are leaving the idea of a village and wanting to say the parents. It's the parents. They hear the music. They see this. They see that. Yes, they do, but parents have to work. And sometimes even in a two-parent household, Mello has even told us that he was doing things that was wrong. He had a great mother and father in the same house. So everything is not just the parents. If that was the case, we'd be like the Stepford wives, and we'd be walking around here like soldiers in an army. If the parents could control all of it, because what parent doesn't want what's best and what's right for their child? It's not always just all placed on the parents. The parents has the greater percentage of it. Yes, those are our kids. They came through us with their vessels, but kids get out into society. Kids get into school. Just like you're saying, well, the parents need to control the music, control what they read. They're still going to slip and get stuff when they get outside. So when we're in school, are we supposed to make the teachers be parents? No, but for so many hours in the day, they are parents and teachers and nurses and social workers. They're a lot. You have people, our thing in our community is that everybody wants to be able to do something better. Everybody wants to find a problem with a solution when there can be a lot of solutions. There are going to be people who listen to this because like I always say, we got Tuscaloosa celebrities and all this, they want to say, "Oh, I would have did this better than this. I would have did that." Well, what are you doing today that make you feel like you would have did this so much better? Because none of y'all in Hollywood, but see, that's just our mentality, and I see it all the time. They want to blame this or blame that, and then if you have a discussion, like Dara said, it's not an argument. It's just like when before Miss Monica came on, we was having open dialogue about it. I told why I was quiet Tuesday, and Miss Gilmore explained her personal perspective, and I was like, I understood that, and that's one reason I didn't say anything because she was talking about her mother. I cannot tell her mother's perspective. You will have other women who will sit back listening and think, oh, I can do this. Why? Because you run all the other panels, because you do this or you do that. We need to have more people who are just openly having a dialogue. just openly having a dialogue, and the dialogue can be everywhere. We can multitask with the dialogue. And then what you take from the dialogue is you did this particular subject, and maybe you can work on this. Like Ms. Gilmore has said over and over, she would like to work on some of the things that she has seen and went through, because there are a lot of other people going through that same thing, and address the youth and young women in that way. But we always fight each other because we always can do it a better way. Or I don't want to. I don't. It's got to be. It's got to be my way. Or I can do it better. And then okay, you do it, but what are your results really? So we got to learn to start listening to other people and not just the same old people in the community. And I think that's one reason this thing in this community, some of the same people want to be front and center all the time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the thing I think the NAACP was having that Friday night out or something like that, or Friday night something that was going on. I thought it would be nice. It would be nice if we can have at that Friday night thing a girls' night and a boys' night separate. I thought about Mike. One time we were talking about the YMCA and what they needed and that sort of a thing. And he was talking about music, production, music, and that sort of thing. Would they need something like that? Well, I think we need to have on that Friday night NAACP thing boys' night, maybe if it's music, and if it's girls, and we can pull the girls in with hair and all of that, but it'll be teaching with that. It'll be mentoring. It'll be seeing positive things in these children. We need to get them young and we need to teach them. But by the time they're 16, 17, I don't want to hear a word you say, and you ain't you just can't tell them anything. But there's a lot of things that make the world bad, a lot of things that make this world good. But the thing about it, we got good black people, we got bad black people, and we'll always have that. The point to the matter is, you keep moving. You don't want to get around anybody negative, and you just keep moving and don't let them stop you. You go around them, you go above them, you walk over them, you just move them out of the way, and you keep on going. And that's what we have to do, because if we keep focusing on the negative side, we're going to miss the people at the starting line. We got plenty of African American young people who have made good grades throughout all of their schooling. They get ready to go to college. The parents might not can send them to college, and they're stuck at that starting line. But we're too focused on the nuts out there who don't want to do anything. And I just think we should focus a little bit more on the positive side of our people instead of blessing. That's not to say we're not going to help them, but uh, if there's not a will, there's not a way. That's just how I look at people. If you don't have a will, you don't have a way. I started, and let's say this, and I'll quit talking so much and let Miss Gibbard talk in a second. But I started a program of reading at one of the projects. What I did, I went to every barber shop because they have books, magazine that, companies just send the magazine. I don't care what it is, cars, hair, fingernails, whatever, basket weaving. I gathered those things. I took it to, and every Tuesday, I went to this project and all the kids came and I just gave them this book. Whatever you want, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. Is one thing that I've never seen because I'm not hard. My mom just called me hard. But if there's no peace in my house, you gotta go. I'm just gonna be on you. But once I was there, I saw that the kids was popping like popcorn. One say something, all of them pop. And as soon as I met the parent, hey, know why. But I think, like I say, and I'm probably off subject or whatever, but we just have to focus.
Yeah,
On
we go.
this point.
We do. I think we can, like I said, I always say, I think we can multitask. We can focus on the positive, but we know we have to try to be, um, we have to try to be inclusive of all our people, even the bad, because that's where you have certain people to address certain people. So there's so many members of our society who can address the ones who are on the right track, can address the ones who need help learning, who may need help academically, can address the ones who have started down the wrong way. So we have different people that we should be able to have different people that can address those issues. A lot of times it may be people who are not successful who are on those paths doing the wrong thing. So I think we should do that. But what, Ms. Gilmore, what do you think? Because I think you had started talking about God as well. When I asked the question of when people say we got to get God back in the home.
Um, I think people kind of have it misconstrued a little bit. As far as having God in the home, I think maybe some people think as long as the adult is getting up and he or she is praying and listening to gospel music or listening to whatever, then that means that God is in the home. I wouldn't stray too far to say that God isn't in the home, but are you introducing the children as well and the other members of the family as well to God as well? Are you taking them and praying with them and encouraging them? Um, I feel like there's a pattern to be broken, and it all starts with communication and the lack thereof. Because a lot of parents don't talk to their children, especially in our community. A lot of parents do not talk to their children, and I feel like if you're not talking to your child and you're not having conversations, whether they're uncomfortable or not, because children have questions. Children these days are exposed to so much, and they have questions that may make you feel like and make you get real buck eyed because honestly, these are the things that our parents kept us away from. So sometimes we feel like it's okay to to um to ignore these type of questions, but then you send your children on a quest to find out their own answers to those questions versus sitting down and talking to them. I say over and over that these children are intelligent because even me, I'm only 37. My oldest is 18 and my youngest is 12. But these children got questions that I would never have imagined to be having conversations with my mama about or my grandmother about. But the more that I have these conversations with my kids, the more comfortable I am because it a lot of times it be harsh stuff and you got to give them the raw and it will stray them away from trying it because you've been honest with them and open with them. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the same thing with about inviting God. The same way you have these conversations with your child, you have to bring your child to God. Our parents took us to church. They not drop us off. You know what I'm saying? And we had, I know in my home we had devotion. So our parents, my godparents rather, they brought that to me and they introduced me to the God that they knew. So I think it's the same thing for the children. It's not it's okay for the mama. You get up and you ride on your way to work, you listen to your gospel music and you listen to your motivational quotes and you talking to God. But are you doing that with your children? And that to me is inviting God back into the home and inviting God into the family and you know
that's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah, because like I said, like we growing up, who tell me on here? I know you're from Connecticut, but you may know who didn't know Freydale, who didn't know Brother A. We heard it because our parents were listening to it. Right. But some of us, they didn't really sit us down. They took us to church. Like I said, we were taken to church and we got the word. But a lot of times now, it's like it needs to be wherever two are gathered. It needs to be wherever. Because a lot of times people aren't going to church, not because they don't want to, but they aren't even going to church. They may be working, they have to. And we're still in the midst of a pandemic. A lot of people aren't going to church. So if they're not going, the children definitely aren't going. So in the home, you can have it in the home, but like you said, even if you have it in the home, are you including the children? Right. Mm-hmm. So that's a great answer. I think we touched on pretty much everything Darren's talking about, but what I do want to talk about last is like the politics. Our people still are not aware of the politics. And my thing is, everybody's not going to be into politics. I know that. But enough of us need to know enough about politics to understand how important it is. And like I say, a lot of people feel like local is most important. I'm one of those people. I've been around and in it so long. I feel like wherever I've been, local is important, but state is important and federal is important. When you have federal government that will give you funds, okay, some people saying it's not important. It's important to know that Congress controls the purse strings when it comes to this country. So you have a Congress that will, some at point, release funds for whatever. And then you get to a state, and we've elected, well, we didn't if we didn't vote for it, but the majority have elected a governor that will not even accept the funds for health care. And you got health hospitals closing down in rural areas. That's a problem. That's a problem. You got a state Congress that won't even pass adequate health care reform for your state. The state can do so much of that on their own level. And it's like, so everything matters. You have a president who they do the Supreme Court picks. Okay, they held with Obama's. You know how important that was? We were at a point where had we had that one Garland, who's now our Attorney General, had he made the Supreme Court, then we would at times be able to depend on that one Republican, Roberts. Now, if we get that one Republican, we still going to be outvoted if we get none of the other ones. And so, how important is that? Right now, abortion. You know, a lot of people, whether you for or against, but I'm just saying they started with that. They've made it. They left it alone. They overturned it. So now it's up to each state. So now, does your state government not become important now? Because a lot of people keep saying it's local, local, local. So does your state? Then you know the Supreme Court, part of the federal, all of that overturned Roe versus Wade. So does your state now not become important to you? 10-year-old girl, pregnant, had to go from one state to another. They want to prosecute people for trying to take her to another state. So does that not become important to you? So the federal matters, the state matters, and your local matters. Because sometimes the federal may be doing okay, and you've got state people who won't even take funds for health care. And that's ridiculous. Your local government may be supposed to be, if the state does take the funds, they're supposed to have it available to any and everybody, and then only certain people hear about it. So you do. So local is very important. You want to nominate people who's going to share the wealth. They're going to share the knowledge. It's all important. It is a trickle down effect when it comes to making decisions that affect you. And a lot of our people don't understand that yet. They keep saying they're going to do what they want to do. Yes, they are, but they're definitely going to do what they want to do if there's nobody fighting it. That's right. Or there's not enough people fighting it. They're definitely going to do what they want to do. Because, like I say, everybody keeps saying, well, I ain't for abortion anyway. That's all good and fine. Nobody's saying you have to be. But are you for a Supreme Court who may overturn completely affirmative action? Because they've been saying for years that it's not needed anymore. Are you for a Supreme Court that's now 6-3 who are going to overturn not only just Roe versus Wade, but just access to birth control? They're going too far into people's business. Right. Whether you support LGBTQ or not, when it's your turn and they turn something over that you feel like helps you, your family and friends, and you didn't speak up when they were overturning this other stuff, then who do you think is going to want to speak up when it's something that you feel like is important, that needs to stand? So I just feel like politics. How much of politics do you guys feel like 80 million people didn't vote in the last election, and it was the biggest election ever? What do you think we can do to get more people involved, even if it is just a local level? Maybe once they become involved in the local level, maybe somebody put a bug in their ear and they'll start being more aware of what's going on with Alabama. Well, I tell you this, I had I had a rude awakening. During the mayoral election, I worked a campaign, and would you believe I called 2,000 people.
2,000, and I'm not lying because telemarketing is nothing. I come home and I do what I do, and I had to have the count there. I called 2,000 people in District 1. If those 2,000 people say, yeah, we're going to do it, we're going to do that. Yeah, I'm voting, I'm voting, I'm voting. No, it came to voting time. We didn't have that. None of that. And I'm like, and the vote count in Tuscaloosa total wasn't even that much. Wasn't much, not 2,000, but it was over 2,000, of course. But it wasn't that many people coming out. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. When I got put in a district that I thought we was not compatible to, just like the historic society was historic district was put in one. They went to the council and said, "Hey, we're not compatible to District One." You know, the majority people in District One, in which they wasn't. But when it come to me, I couldn't go up there and say, "Hey, well, you put me in this district for?" I have nothing in common with this district, you know. But my point is, I don't know about it's so many things about politics. You either love it, like it, you trust it or don't. But here now, people just don't trust politicians. I mean, it's wide open. It's too many things going on. Nothing is happening. And say for Trump, the man he's Houdini. The guy is Houdini. He haven't gotten caught with anything that he has done. And the man has done a lot of stuff he shouldn't have. But he slips through every hole like Houdini. But the thing about it is people want they're getting discouraged. But I do agree that local politics is very important. And when it comes to local politics, it is not as divisive. Are you a Republican? I'm a Republican. You know, as far as local politics, the city council, the mayor, because the mayor going to have to fool with everybody, Republican, Independents, the whole 9 yards, and so the council people. But when you send them to the state, a state like Alabama, which is the most backwards thinking places. I used to work at the university. You would not believe how many professors, how many professional people that say, hell no, I'm not raising my kids in Alabama. They sky up. They get out of here. But the thing about it, we're a Republican state. The people, whether they live in Appalachian Mountain or whether they live on the lake in $1 million houses, they going for Republican. So, you know, that's it in a bag. But, you know, I vote and I've been voting ever since I was old enough to vote, and I would continue to vote, but I just don't know how we can get people out.
When it comes to politics, it is to me it's like anything else. Honestly, you have a tree. Um, I don't know why I want to. You have a tree that has hundreds of branches, and they all sprout out in different directions. But the main source of those branches and those leaves and those limbs is the root. If we don't ever get back to the root of these issues, then we're not going to progress on anything when it comes to politics, getting people out to vote, getting people to understand who to vote for and who to trust. It's the root of the problem. And again, back to our community and to me, the root of the problem, the root of those issues, it just all starts in the home. What are we sitting down and discussing with our families? What are we being open, to our families about and our children and raising them up? Nobody ever told me to grow up and vote. They just came to the school when we was in about the 11th or 12th grade and started talking to us about voting. We didn't know anything about politics, and they touch on Democratic and Republican, and they make one bigger than the other. you know, when it comes to politics, it's to me it's just like any other thing. It's just there's no trust there.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're right.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you go. Go ahead. Finish. I thought you were done.
And you're not gonna make people go out and vote for people who don't know, who they don't know, and not only do they not know, but not even know what they voting for. People don't even know what the commissioner is. And to me, I said it starts in the home, the communication and the lack thereof.
Okay, I think with that you're right, but I think we can still even take it back to just educating because a lot of the adults in the home aren't educated on.
Exactly.
You know, politics, like we say, politics is a fickle thing because you have to trust. And honestly, I vote, but I don't trust any of them because politicians, just the word politicians, have their own agenda. You know, you just have to fall in line with whoever you're more in line with or whoever you believe will help you more or try to help you more. Like so many people are blaming President Biden for not doing this, that, and the other. But when in actuality, he is checks and balances. You got executive, you got judicial, and you got legislative. Legislature, I keep saying they hold the purse strings. So a lot of this stuff, you know, is it Biden's fault that the gas went up? If you saying they keep saying it's Biden economy, what did he do to make the gas go up? If I ask somebody what did he do to make the gas go up, they can't tell me. See, when there's a Republican in office, oh, the president didn't control the gas prices. But when gas went up and Obama was in office, Clinton was in office, if the gas spiked a little bit, now that Biden's in office, oh, Biden administration, Clinton administration, you know, Obama administration. But when Trump was in office and the gas went up, the president gonna control gas anyway. Some of these same big time Republicans who hate Democrats so much, being the president don't control the gas. You know, every so often inflation does what it does. So if you're saying that it's all on his shoulders and it's his fault, what is he supposed to be doing? Do you think Congress would not get in gear? They meet, they talk all the time to the president. They tell him do this. I mean, we have financial people working on things, but even them, it's just a matter of I don't think this particular war is affecting us financially as much as others have. So a lot of times education, like I said, the parents, it starts at home. When it comes to politics, sometimes the parents need to be educated. And sometimes there's just an amount of education with politics we'll never have. Because it boils down to them wanting to do what they want to do. And that is true, but don't let that stop you from picking what's maybe better for you.
I feel like Democrats are individuals, and the Republican Party is a family. Honestly, and the reason why I say that is because a lot of people are just Democratic because our parents told us to, and that's what we're supposed to be, and that's it. And it's more of an individual decision because we feel like that's going to be the party that's going to be for us. Republicans stick together. They stick together.
And it doesn't matter to them how wrong what they may be voting for. Because you know why? Because the wrong's not going to affect them anyway. And so we've gotten politicians in there, and this is for Democrat and Republican. We need to start electing people who are looking at helping the country as a whole. It may be a different way. They may think this will help everybody on this side. Republicans may think doing it one way will help. Democrats may think doing it another way will help. But what needs to be the common goal is that it helps everybody. We have parties now who are focused on helping the wealthy, and that's it. And like Ms. Minor said, you got them coming all out the boondocks to go and vote against their best interest for that party because they stick together because of the common way of thinking that they have, that their position in society is.
And I've never seen people who are really stuck on these two parties, the Democrat and the Republican Party, worship those parties like most of them they worship God. I have never seen it's like a cult. No matter what happened, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, and they'll fight to defend it. And I agree that the Republican Party is steadfast on one single thing. They're gonna stick together. Democratic Party right now, they ain't fighting hard enough. They need to get some young folks in there, like the AOC now, and what do they call them? The squad. We
Mhm.
need those kind of people in the political party, but they're being held back by these older people who's not passing that mantle and not teaching them properly because it does take time and experience in the political party and you move up as you go. But the thing about it, this Democratic Party don't fight like a junkyard dog. But the Republican Party fights like a junkyard dog.
And the Democratic Party is too concerned about what it will look like. And the Republicans know that. And they'll hold their feet to the fire for that. Oh, they did this and they did that. But they go and do all kinds of mischief and they don't care what it looks like. And you can hold their feet to the fire, but they pull it away and they keep doing it.
And the thing about it is that the time for a third party should have been 10 years ago. Should have been worked. Well, we did have the Green Party and all those widows and stuff. I'm sorry to say that to the Green Party, but we did have some widows in that Green Party and stuff. We should have gotten together, but right now people talking about, because I think I heard Andrew Yang, he talking about a third party. The time right now is not ready for a third party. The country is headed toward a civil war right now.
It's not, right now would not be a good time for a third party.
Not right now for a third party. But we should have been thinking about that a while ago. And what I want to say is the African American voted. They never ask for anything for their vote. They give their vote away. They don't hold people to the fire. They never ask for anything. We African American could have been out of the hole that we are in if we held our vote. You had to pay us for our vote. You had to give us something for our vote. But yet we pile on and we pile on and we pile on and we don't get not one thing. Then we sit around when we get the folks in there. Then here we are. We need more. We ask for the same thing. We need this. We need that. We need that. But when you gave away your vote, you didn't ask for anything. You got to hold up on that. And to say this, these organizations that we have, that all of these people go to, we're gonna do, even state and local. We're gonna folks come to it, politicians come through it, they don't ask for a thing. They put them ballots out when it's time for vote, and them folks be looking for it. Believe me, the older people, I don't know if they can read or not. Where's this ballot? I don't see the ballot. I don't see the ballot. I don't see the ballot. I need that ballot.
So you're saying we back to education. Back to education.
Exactly, Mundo.
Okay, so what do y'all I think we touched on about everything, but I'll expand on education a little bit more. And just to let young people know, education is something nobody will ever take from you.
Right.
Once you get it, once you've received it, and just know, don't let anyone make you ashamed of not going to a 4-year college. Now, my thing, I'm a 4-year college kind of person. I pushed that. My family has pushed that. My girls did that. But I know that everybody doesn't want a 4-year degree. There are some trades that pay more than 4-year graduates do. They pay more than people with master's degrees. They do. So everybody is not geared towards a 4-year college. But I still think we need to continue to push, not just 4-year college. I will always push that. I feel like some people think we can't do 2 to 3 things at a time. And that's what I always hate about our community. Well, people have gotten their 4-year degrees. What they push that the 80s and 90s, get your degree. Okay, people started getting their degrees, and then so sometimes jobs don't require degrees. Sometimes you can just have the experience. Well, then they came up with trade skills. Trade skills take sometimes 6 months to 2 years. And when that came about, some of those jobs are paying more than a person who graduated a 4-year college or even 6 years of college. But that person may work up a little quicker, have more access, and be more on a corporate level. But everybody doesn't want to be a corporate level. So I say never discourage anybody from a 4-year degree and never discourage anybody from taking a trade. Sometimes a person will get a trade like I did, and then they go back later, years later, to get their 4-year degree. So just encourage education. What do y'all feel about the encouraging of education? Encourage education, whether it be going to a 6-month program to be a paralegal, whether it be going to a year program to be a cosmetologist or a barber, a 2-year program to be a nurse, whatever it is, I encourage education. I think sometimes I would like to see more education being encouraged altogether.
Most definitely, and I agree with that. This past Monday, I took my son to the University of Alabama day football camp that they had. My 15-year-old, and one of the things that he was stuck on, I asked him, did he enjoy it and what did he learn? And one of the things that he said multiple times is how Nick Saban talked about getting an education. And I was so, I was so moved by that because you got a building, you have a college, very successful college football coach who has aspiring teenagers, a room full. I mean, it had to be about 300 boys and young guys there, ranging from the ages of 15 and 17. And to push education the way he did, into those boys, and my 15-year-old to come out, he said more about academics than he did about the drills that he learned, and I feel like that's a good thing, and I made sure I was adamant about telling him, these your ankles, you good, son, but them ankles and knees is not gonna last you the rest of your life. At about 30, they're gonna start telling you something. When it get cloudy, you gonna start, before it rains.
And see, well, I'm gonna speak, because I hope you don't mind, because you told us this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I know that one of their sons is expecting 2 kids, and I don't know if that's the one that went to camp, but okay, to hear him say that about education, never let a child. I know pregnancy happens at a young age, not just parenthood happens at a young age. Because yes, the young lady's pregnant, but somebody got her pregnant, and a lot of times it's another young man, a year or 2 older, or maybe even younger. If you find any child, teenager in that situation, don't stop pushing them.
Exactly.
Don't stop pushing them. Like I said, they may not want the 4-year degree. If they do push it, but they can do something. Give them something in their hand that's tangible, that they can have, that they know that if they need this, they can work on this while they're working on something better, or they can work on this. Him being 15, he may go to college. If he doesn't go to college, at least Nick Saban has said something, and it wasn't just mama, or it wasn't somebody else. Somebody who he respects has told him how important education is. Exactly. So if he goes and he gets a trade, a technical degree, he knows that he has 2 kids. Push him to keep doing that, because he'll be that young father that knows how important education is to help him and his children.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I probably have pushed him more, and I push my children. You know what I'm saying? And I like I said, my communication, the openness that I have now with my children is so much broader, only because I'm learning in reverse. I'm learning in reverse of what I was taught. I didn't have anybody to talk to when I was growing. And I had nobody to tell me, this, that, and the third. So I make it my priority to make sure I have conversations, whether they be uncomfortable or not, with my children. Because like I said, these children have questions, they have issues, they have things on their mind. They are exposed to so much these days. Children are exposed to so much. It is not good for them to have to come home and want to ask a question about all this stuff. The whole America watched George Floyd being murdered on live. Mm-hmm. Our children watch that on live. That is daunting on a child. That is traumatizing. If we don't have these conversations with our children, then that is why we are losing so many of them. I just realized that even with my 15-year-old and the behavioral issues that I had with him when he was younger, the more I talk to him, the more I speak to him, and the more that I allow him to talk to me, the more I see change it's communication is so key in the home. If we don't talk to these children, that's just like I said, like a baby, like newborn babies. When you talk to them, you all know when you talk to newborn babies how much they interact.
Veronica,
Can you hear me?
We got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead,
Yes,
sir.
we hear that. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hey, do you have any banquet open tomorrow around 4 to 6?
Uh,
Hello?
let me call you back. I'm sorry. We on a podcast. I'll call you back. Just a second.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I'll call you back in just a second.
Okay. Do you have my number?
Yes, sir.
Business goes on.
Okay.
Hey.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. But I'm with you. Education. I'm one of those ones who got pregnant as a teenager. I made it up in summer school, graduated on time, and kept trucking. But the thing about it is, when women get pregnant or teenage men, they when it's pregnant, you have to do what you have to do. If you can get a quick train, get that quick train. Then, as you go, you can go to the 4-year colleges or just wherever you want to go and do it like that. But you have to have, in this day and time, more than a 12th grade education. More than a 12th grade. You have to go. Every child that I come across, every teenager, young person I come across, I'm like, hey, you got to go to school. I don't care where you go, trade school or whatever, you have to have a higher education. And let me tell you something about way back in the day. Way back in the day, and I went to a white American school, but it was all about education. Education. You got to graduate. You got to graduate. And African Americans was pushed through school, whether they could read, whether they could not. These black teachers pushed them through, and there were great black students, and there were great black teachers. But the name of the game was back then push. Just gotta get them graduate, 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 graduate. And what we have now, and I hate to keep because I was a teenager when I got pregnant. I had a lot of jobs. I had a lot of jobs. So if I give you this, I did that, I did that, I did. I worked in the unemployment office. It was just a temporary thing. I worked in the unemployment office. And at the unemployment office, you're gonna stay there all day. But when I started working there, the people was having coffee in the room. I'm like, what in the world are these folks doing? So I would whisper, hey, they got this job, they got this job, they got this job. But a lot of people roll up to that window and they'll whisper in my ear, I can't read. I can't read. I can't read. And I think that's a lot is what's going on, and the kids are embarrassed. If they cannot read today as well, they are embarrassed. And therefore they do what they do. But we got to take that stigma out of not reading. You can learn to read. You can learn to read. You can do anything you want to do, but education is very important. You're going to be lost if you have just a 12th grade education. I was telling someone, I think yesterday, it's about $45,000 a year. And they was talking about this, that. I said, listen, people, we got people coming out, depending on what your degree is. And if you get a bachelor's degree, sometimes you can't even get a job. I said, people, get these 4-year education, they ain't coming out here making a $45,000 job. And you don't even have an education, but you're making $45,000. Right? And I was just telling them that was pretty good, but we got to preach education, and we have to teach, and we have to make sure those kids who are coming graduating high school and they're not up to par, or whether they quit high school, we got to get them reading, because that's the most important thing. And I also tell people that, listen, especially them young brothers that's coming out of prison, Go to truck driving school. Go to truck driving school. You can get a job. You can get a job really fast by doing that. But just education is the key.
Okay, well, it's 5 minutes to 10. So I'm gonna I'm gonna end. I think because I think they usually try to get off at least 10, 10:30. But I got one more thing I want to ask you guys about, and that's I don't know. We'll talk to you about. I don't know how we're gonna handle because, like I said, some of these parents, sometimes it's not the village mentality anymore. They don't want you to say anything to their kids. They don't want you to correct their kids, their teenagers or young adults. I feel like there are many kids who are educated, but I think what we need to do, and we've all did this, we use slang. We use slang all the time. We use slang on the show. But we've got to start letting them know that there's a time and a place. You need to speak intellectually because the more you don't speak intellectually, the more you get to writing down crazy stuff on your application. Sometimes I've seen applications go straight in the garbage because someone literally may have put, you know what I'm saying, when trying to explain what their goals are. So we kind of, you know, um, we've got to, without sounding judgmental, because like I said, every generation has their slang. But it seems like this younger generation is more in tune with just not. I don't know. I don't know if they're just not complying because it's just a street thing. It's just they think it's just all about the way they speak. We're living in America that still wants, they want you to use proper English. Now that being said, the Oxford Dictionary has come up with something they're calling kind of like the black language. So they're so in tune with our dialect and our dialogue, the way we talk, and a lot of things about us. You know the word appropriation. They're so in tune with that to the Oxford has now created a dictionary, and we already got what is it? What is it when you Google the hip hop, the Urban Dictionary? We got the Urban Dictionary through Google, but they have created and Oxford has created like basically black vernacular. But that being said, of course they put bling in the dictionary years ago, Webster. But I'm saying it's like a lot of these kids, just not one word here or there. They're you sitting in front of a manager. He's trying to interview you, and it used to be a point where some people could get past the interview. They talk their good game and good talk, and then of course when they got the job, they may not have been the way that they presented themselves. But some of these kids are presenting themselves like that in the interview. So I just think we need things like classes on etiquette, be it speech etiquette. We know you learn how to read, we know you know stuff, but know when to use professional etiquette is all I can call it. Know when to talk to a certain way and make a person understand that you know what you're talking about. Don't let somebody, like I can look at a person that's talking that way and I know that they're very educated and know what they're talking about. But when you go into a job interview, that can be their excuse. I know what he's saying, but he's talking that crazy. He's not going to represent my company talking like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when you bring them to class, you bring the parents because I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, if we really
and see, people would think that you're talking about people, and you're not talking about people. This is what's going on, and this is what you see. And then if you work in these places, you hear what people are saying about it.
Exactly. And it all just goes back to the root. It starts in the home. Mm-hmm. We've got to get parents to a different place, and the parents are getting younger and younger. They're getting younger and younger. The grandparents are getting younger and younger. And they were young back then, but the times are so different. Like you said, you can't tell a person anything. What is up with this ego, this egotistical attitude that I don't know why I want to say women, but it's because the woman is the foundation of the home, and we got to get to a point where we're able to talk to them. And how do we approach that without making it seem like we trying to run them? Because that's the next attitude that's gonna come with. You can't tell me how to raise my child. I had a female tell me that, and she called her daughter B words and H's and sluts. Wow. She called her daughter everything. And when I addressed it, it was an attitude. Don't nobody tell me how to raise my child. Well, I mean, where did this come from? And how do we rid society? We're not going to get rid of it, but how do we reach those type of people, especially when you know them, when you know they're good people, but there's some issues. And all these issues are just in a bundle. When it goes back to mental health, it goes back to education, the lack thereof, it goes back to communication and the lack thereof. But what do we do as women who want to see different and want to see change? What do we do in order to reach those type of people and those type of homes to try to change the youth? Because they're our future. These are our doctors, the people that we gonna have to go see. Well, I know I'm gonna have to go see when I turn 60 and 65, and I gotta go to the doctor regularly, to make sure my health is in good standing. This is our future that's coming up. So, what type of example do we set? How do we change this epidemic?
It's kind of like you said, you have to address some of these parents as well, because it's just like during the Mike's program yesterday, the mayor told them the baton will be passed to them, and the way that they run their cities, their states, the country will depend on what happens with them, their children, and their grandchildren, and not only that, but their parents and their grandparents. So it's like, as women, I think it's we saying women because it's a women's panel, but I think it's going to take men and women, because I've seen plenty of single fathers raise little girls. When they say a man can't raise a little girl, that's not true to me. I always cringe when I hear people say a woman can't raise a man. A woman can raise a man, a good man. You got two parent households that can't raise either one of them, and I've seen many men raise women, respectable, upstanding women. So, but as far as the women and that, I just feel like we have to continue to, with times changing, because I know a lot of times people say we can't do it like you used to, and it's sad to say, but you almost have to approach everybody on eggshells, and you have to treat them with kid gloves. A lot of times people don't want you to say anything to them. So I guess it's to the point where we got to do what we got to do. We got to approach them with kids gloves. We got to approach them, with gentle hands. That's just how we have to do it if it's going to help make things better. That's right.
And what we need to do is start. I just got this in my spirit. This is the way that we start. We start with the ones who actually want to help, that actually want the help.
That's
Because
right.
we cannot force anybody to do anything. We can put it out there. We've done our deed by putting it out there. But the people that's going to accept it and want that change in their homes, is because it's going to start in your homes, and we got to start getting personal with these women. A lot of women just need somebody to show them, because there's a lot of women who just don't even know how to. How do I start? Nobody talked to me, so how do I talk to my children? Nobody showed me how to do this, so how do I do it?
And Chris, it seems like you're really, really in tune with doing that. So it's like you could be the catalyst to starting that organization for that.
Yeah.
Because like we have organizations for little girls, little boys, young women, young men. You could be the catalyst for those, especially those parents who may, like you have, kids who are 12 to 18. 18 right. is not too late. I know 18 they getting set, but because we mostly don't get set nowadays, so we're older. So even though they may be used to doing what they want to do, it's never too late to try to reach young people.
Right, because I was just on my 18-year-old. My 18-year-old is he's a boy, and my 18-year-old son. I was just today about something. I will never stop teaching him or showing him a better way, or telling him this, because if I don't, then somebody else gonna do it. They might tell him what's wrong. And like you said earlier, we know what's best for our children, and we know what's best for them. So if we just pour into the people that want and will reciprocate that, and want actually have a receiving spirit for that, and it's a lot of people like that. I will never say that the whole black community is negative and doesn't receive that, because there are a lot of women who want to receive that and want better for their children and want better for themselves. Mm-hmm. So if we can just start with the ones who want to receive it, we have done a great deed.
That's right, because if you have a will, there's a way. If you have hope, you can do it. But if you don't have any hope, that's where Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive. You got to have that will in you to do anything. If you ain't got any will to get up and move to do something, you ain't gonna do anything. That's why I say, for those kids, it's not overlooked. Those kids at that starting line, we already gone through it. They ready to run that race, and we got to push them on over. But the thing about it is, if you can't teach, the Bible says, if you go to somebody and they don't want to listen, wipe the dirt off your feet and keep moving. That's right. And you know, we just have to understand that. The people who want will come to you. They will come to you. Like I said, I was among a million black people, and every one of those, the million of black people, they were in tune to helping their race. So we have a lot of that out there, but we just got to do what we need to do. And if it takes us doing the Friday night, talking to the girls, talking to the parents, let's do it. I mean, we don't have to have any money. You know, we meet them in the park. We can meet them anywhere. I mean, we just got to do something. It's going to lose it.
I'll let you go.
Ms. Ron, can you close us out?
Okay, it's 10:07 or so. I think there. Miss Patricia said the word now is bruh, and she is so right. I get so tired of hearing young ladies call each other bruh. That is not cute. It is not what it is. It is not what it does. I just get so tired of hearing that. But it's like I said, it's a new generation. Times are what they are. I just want to be able to teach them to present themselves in the correct way, in the correct places. When if you're gonna do some of the things you do, like we did, we were young. We knew when to turn stuff on and off. We knew how to talk to our parents as opposed to talking to our kids. So basically, we need to teach our kids how to talk to professional people, people in certain positions. You don't talk to them the way that you talk to your friends. To me, right, we've gotten away from that. And that's something that sounds so simple, but we really just need to teach them. You don't talk to your elders the way you talk to your friends. You don't talk to your parents. Anybody old enough to be your parent, you don't talk to them the way that you talk to your friends. And even if they're not old enough to be your parent, if they're old enough to be your mentor, you may be 15, but you have a 21, 22-year-old that's taking out the time in their day, doing something maybe for college credit, whatever it is, and they're mentoring you. You might not have to say yes sir to them, but have some respect. We have to teach them to respect each other. We do have to teach respect. And like she said, all of that starts in the home. Everything starts in the home. But as a community, as a village, we're going to have to help what the home can't always offer. Because some people don't have anything offered in the home. Their parents are gone from the time they get out of school to the time they go in the bed and they get up in the morning to go to school. And their parents get up in the morning saying, "Did you get your homework last night?" And then not that they're bad parents, because then they're trying to rush and do their homework in the morning. So as a village, we do have to help what can't happen in the home. And I think we will touch everything. So Dara, if you and Mike got something else y'all want to talk about or ask us about, I think we hit on everything.
Y'all hit on everything, and it sounded like it was a great conversation. I think next time we'll let some of these men that had questions or making comment, we'll let them call in next time. But I wanted this to kind of be like just the women, let the women export some things and put it out there and go from there. I learned a lot.
Darren, that had this lady conference. I wish we had more ladies call in because I'm sure there were other opinions that were out there. It was a way for everybody to get a chance to put their opinions out there and have an actual conversation.
And you can do it every so often. More opinions, more solutions.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's absolutely the case. Most times somebody have an opinion and I don't want to say nothing. You ain't gonna like what I got to say, and that's not the case. We welcome anything you have to say any and every time. Everybody's not gonna agree. We just not. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's too different to agree on everything. But
And what I'm starting to learn, like when you don't agree, what I'm starting to learn is, say if, for instance, me and Miss Martin is talking about something, and she's saying do it this way, and I'm saying do it that way. Our community, so we butt heads, and then nothing ends up getting done. If she's saying do it this way, and she's firm in what she believes will work, and I'm saying do it that way, as long as it's positive, we both can do it. That's right.
with that being said, a lot of times we say the same thing.
That's right.
We just don't. We just tend not to listen to each other. we'll sit there and say almost verbatim the exact same thing, but because we don't want we want folks to hear us. We don't want to listen to nobody. We don't hear it, and so and sometimes we only get it in the words that we're saying it in. That's why, like when I address my kids, I said, "Well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm just so adamant that they get what I'm saying. So I need to see whether they understanding from what I'm saying, because they may go and do exactly what I said."
Yes, Veronica. I brought that out just the other day. Are they comprehending what we're saying? We expect them to really be on the level of
And I had a
understanding
problem
like we
with
do.
that. I ain't too ashamed to say it. I had a problem with that. And it took some years for me to say, hold up, what make me just right so right? Maybe it's the way that I'm saying it that's leading me to see her comprehend it in a way that is not meant. And sometimes she will go or she will go and do what I said, but I'm like, so I know they heard what I said. Instead of me saying, I know they heard what I said, I should have been thinking, so they got me. She don't have to say it back to me the way I said it, as long as they're comprehending and seeing if they comprehend.
Well, coming from an old woman here, well, I ain't old, but coming from old with kids, I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of straight up. I'm a straight shooter, and mine come across the wrong way, and I'll tell you this, it will be blocked. You can be telling the truth, hey, the bridge is out over there, but you can tell it in a way, and they'll just go on, they will not listen, and you can take it from me, because
But then sometimes, like Miss Minor, we have to look at ourselves when we doing that dialogue. Like Daryl said, he brought it out. Or we know what we're saying, but a lot of times we can't expect everybody else to comprehend what we're saying, even though we comprehend it and it's clear as day to us. We got to see that, make sure that they're comprehending it, especially when it's young kids or even teenagers. We have to make sure that they're comprehending it.
But I was going to say,
what they're saying that
I think that what they're hold on, is Daryl or Mike talking?
It's Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying that these young people, they comprehend a whole lot more than we give them credit for.
No. But see, that's what I don't want to do. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to always say what somebody else does, because truth be told, we truly don't know. It's just like when Miss Crystal was talking about her story. That's why I didn't address that when Darren said we was gonna have it today. I can't tell her what her mama was feeling or what she meant. We got to get out of that too. Telling people, oh, they understood that. If it's a personal level, maybe that person you were talking about. But I, from experience, know sometimes younger people aren't comprehending or they're not getting what you're putting out.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be them, it may be you.
Yeah, because a lot of times as parents, we have to realize that we are not always.
We're not perfect.
We are not always right, and sometimes your child can tell something, and if you don't think a child can tell you something that will make you kind of, shut up.
Right. Right.
You ain't really parenting for real, and you. A lot of times, parents listen just to respond. I don't want you to
right.
listen
Go
to
ahead,
just
Crystal.
respond to me. I need
Right.
you to understand me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between just responding and understanding, because we have to, if we don't take the time to listen, we don't even know how to respond.
And guess what? Then they get afraid to talk to you. Then they get afraid to even tell you the problem. They ball up. Because I'm gonna give you one of the easiest examples. What if I say, go in there and get me something to eat this? Say it's pizza, and we usually eat pizza with our hands. But say, go in there and give me something to eat this with, and they bring me a fork, and I keep it. The next time I eat pizza, I say, go in there and give me something to eat with, and they bring me a spoon. Well, they just heard something to eat with. I should have said a fork if I meant a fork. Well, you brought me a fork the last time, you popping off. You brought me a fork when I had the pizza last time. That's a child. So, like Darren says, sometimes are they comprehending? And it's not just that. What are we saying? I can't just assume they know because I know. Well, so it's a lot of issues that seem small, but that's like one of the easiest ways I can explain it. That we cannot always just assume.
And you can't always assume that the child is wrong.
Right. That makes them shut down. I've seen it. It makes them shut down.
and you dumb, and it's almost like dumbing a child down. They're really intelligent. They really go by. The children learn by what they see, not what you say. And you could talk, and you could talk, but if you ain't walking, what you talking? And some of those kids go to school so confused. Right, some of them kids go to school so confused because the parents tell them one thing and then the teachers tell them something else, and it's all about, well, I've been getting it this way. So a lot of times we got to make sure that they're comprehending, and we got to make sure that we putting it out to be comprehended. Right. And that all goes back, you just messing up that child mental health. That's all it is. It's a mental health thing because if you're saying this, but you doing just what you say not to do, and right. You performing it in front of them. You just told them not to do this, but then you turn around and do it. They can say, you can sit there and say, well, I'm grown, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. They're not looking at it like that. And you popping off with a child as an adult, you know what I'm saying? And see, and Chris, it's even the simplest of things. It could be something like homework. We was taught to do, they got new math, and even before it's new math, we was taught to do it this way. Well, the child make it just because they got it wrong doesn't mean they're not understanding. How many did they get right? Right. See, a lot of this stuff, it takes hindsight. It takes us a little bit older to get that. And so that's why I say, when I said that they gotta comfort you. Now if you know somebody personally, they know how to play you. Yeah, oh, they get what I'm saying. Okay, but we're saying in general as a community, we got to make sure that they're completely comprehending before you go to the next step, or before you label them, or before you do whatever. Well, I tell you what, when my one of my kids, I was telling them something. I'm the kind of parent, and I'm kind of hard, but you got to have some order in the house, right? So I say, hey, do this. Okay? They didn't do it. I said, please do this. And on that third one, I actually said, well, baby, what's wrong? I told you twice. Do I need to take you to the doctor? We need to check you out. You know, but it is, there's stages in development of a child all the way up that you go through, and each one of them, even we did. In the first grade, they start to lie. In the eighth grade, they start smelling themselves. In the 16, they start doing something else. At the age of 21, they think they know everything. It just. But see, I'm not going to go see Miss Minor. That's that negative approach that we still don't want to use. We're talking about young, innocent kids right now. Right there, is that what you was getting from this? Like I'm saying, you got somebody in the 1st grade, the 2nd grade, the 3rd grade, the 4th grade, even the 5th grade. We under 10 years old. We've got to realize that the way we do ain't gonna always work. And I'm gonna say the word ain't. It ain't gonna always work. And it may be they go through different stages, but everybody doesn't develop the same way at the same time. Every 5-year-old is not gonna be on the same level. Every 6-year-old is not gonna comprehend on the same level. Be it stuff what you do at home, be it what you do at school. Everybody's different. And I think us as parents, or our people as parents, some of us get that, but a lot of us don't. And like I said, I can say that from experience. I'm like, hold up, let me examine. You have to do a self-examination sometimes. And you can be hard, and all that kind of stuff. That works for certain people, but I'm talking about, I think what we're trying to do is focus on how we as women, we're doing, how we're being perceived, and how we're getting our messages across to younger people, to children. Mm-hmm. And the way that we speak to them, and the way that we lead them. You just have to practice what you preach. That's what we're saying. We practice what you preach, and Yeah, but see, that's a different thing. Is like don't live together before you get married. That's that type of stuff. But what I'm talking about is like when it comes to academics, kids understanding just regular things in life. To do, everybody may not be just because you think they know it's a fork. Yeah, you got some 2-year-old, or some mom 6 months saying fork. But then you might have a 2-year-old, and they ain't slow or delayed. They may be slower than your other two grandkids or your other two kids. But you got to understand, is it me or is it them? Is that what you're saying, Daryl? Is that what you get from what I was trying to say?
Yes, I did.
Okay. That's it, Daryl. Daryl, what were you going to say?
Well,
that's what I think he was getting.
Yeah, I just think, like my grandkids, I just, when we say some simple things, or like clean up or do this or do that, you assume they know how to clean up. But if
Right.
they've never done it or haven't been properly trained to do it, and I've found adults in this same situation, but that's a whole other story. I just think we just take for granted that they understand right off the hat what we're implying and what we want them to do sometimes.
And guess what? I done said something before, told mine something. And I knew they didn't do it, but I was like, you seen me do this 1,000 times. So what? They saw me. They never did it.
Yeah.
I didn't guide them in doing it.
That's the thing.
Did they understand what I was saying when I said it? Because I knew they seen me. So sometimes it's us.
That's right. And you have to guide them. You have to guide them. It's like cutting the grass. Cutting the grass. If you go out there and the person just say, go out there and cut the grass. If they ain't hitting those edges, you got to show them how to hit those edges.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show them how.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not more about a do as I do as I say kind of thing. Because that's a situation where I'm saying do as I do, and as I say, and then they're not getting it because they weren't taught. Just because kids watch us, I was having a conversation with someone earlier that my mama was a seamstress. She made my uncle's wedding dresses for the wedding party, my aunties. And I wish now so much that I had done so I can take up pants and I can do this kind of stuff. Now looking back in hindsight, I wish I could have did this. As far as in the kitchen, I looked, I watched, I know what I'm doing. But as far as sewing and stuff like that, I watched her sew every day. My mother made all her clothing, made wedding dresses and stuff. Did I watched her? But you can't give me a sewing machine and expect me to do it. Because even when she said, come sit down and watch, I was in band, I was doing this, so she didn't really push the issue because I was getting good grades. And I don't blame her for that. That was just sewing for some people it's like a hobby. Everybody's not going to be a seamstress. But I did have that open to me. Had I been open to that and not playing ball or being in band or doing other things. Now looking back, I wish I had. But so I'm just saying, even though I watched her as a woman now, I can't make no dress. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, when you tell a child, just because a child sees you do something, and then you tell them to do it, we have to understand comprehension skills, and their comprehension skills differ amongst the same age, amongst different ages.
And yeah, and it's also depending on what we're talking about. Just like if your mother or whomever you said that talked to that was sewing, they said, "Baby, do this stitch, do that stitch."